Oh no, yet another scrum cap wearing lacquerback, stepping all the big boys. Go on Edwell, score your try. Rugby. You should be grateful to me for going to Loftus. Instead of depriving a Bulls fan from the experience, I saved them from heartache. So you're welcome. But before we get into all of that, we first have the new Springbok coach and his first match in charge to look at, and also his second squad that he just announced. Let's get to it. Bokke versus Wales. Early on Saturday, the Boks hosted Wales at Twickenham, now the world's first dual nationality national stadium. As was well publicised, Wales came into the game with a bunch of kids and whoever was left from the well-known Gatlin pre-match torture camps. The Boks brought their usual pack of bone crunchers and a few newbies in the backline. Now, since about 2018, matches between these two teams have tended to be a little shit. Both sides recognised the other's breakdown threats and usually went for the kicking options on most possessions. That changed a little bit last year during the World Cup warm-ups. A very confident Boks side put a not as young Cymru side to the sword. That new trend continued in this game. The Boks ran it the first chance they got, and on their second chance, the tightest skin in the game put it down next to the posts. They were stringing way more phases together and the backline players looked a lot better at securing the rucks. It did not always go well and at some points looked quite clunky, but the Boks had their contextually excellent scrum to lean back on and get them out of trouble. The Welsh front row just had no answer to the Boks for most of the game. Speaking of the Welsh, they were still very much following their old script. In places where the Boks were happily running it, the Welsh put up bombs. And why not? They had one of the best ever to do it at fullback and maybe the best kick chase in the game to support him. It nearly paid off a few times, but the Boks' excellent scramble prevented those final passes from sticking. That and Apalele Fassi was having one of the most stress-free, easiest days under the high ball a fullback could ever ask for. Almost everything kicked on him was too deep, and he happily gobbled up all the kicks under no pressure, and the Boks just thanked Wales for the possession. Honestly, this game went the way one would expect, and even with the 1-point halftime lead, I was never really stressed. The pack with the reputation liquefied the pack with none. And the young backlines both dropped balls, but the one with the platform had more opportunities to score. So rugby happened, is what I'm saying. In a couple of weeks' time, the Bok team selected will probably have the same kind of experienced pack with a lot more experience in the backline. And they'll be taking on the very scary Irish at Loftus. Rugby will be happening for sure. But before then, it is time to rip off that band-aid and have a look at what happened in the grand final of the URC. Bulls versus Glasgow. And what a final it was. For the third year in a row, it was hosted in South Africa. And for the second time, a European team came down from the north and drank the host's milkshake.
I've abandoned my child!
As mentioned, I was there, so it is hard to form a full picture of what was going on. But on a macro level, it still looks like the Bulls cannot pace their game. Time and again this season, the Bulls have started with a needle fully in the red, only to fade in the last 20 minutes and allow their opponents back into the game. The one major exception is obviously the excellently paced semi-final. Valerie kicked the stink off the ball for the entirety of the first half, and the Bulls stayed fresh and in the match right up until the end. Again on Saturday, the 60-minute mark came up and the Bulls just started falling off tackles and losing their discipline. Brain fades abounded. I don't understand it. Glasgow were playing just as hard as the Bulls, but as the game wore on, they became more accurate and faster. The Bulls just had no answer to the Glasgow maul and they could not get into the Glasgow half. Why? 41 missed tackles later and the hosts gave up their 13-0 lead for a heartbreaking 16-21 loss. Congratulations to both teams for putting on a great final and having great seasons. And especially congratulations to Kyle Steyn and his boys for coming down south and doing it the hard way. Rewind from all of that drama though, and on Saturday morning it was the Super Rugby Pacific final, and unbelievably the Crusaders didn't win it. The Blues took on the Chiefs at a rainy Eden Park and dominated the game from start to finish. The Blues ran double the meters, made double the carries, double the offloads, missed half as many tackles and conceded half as many penalties. Not a super entertaining final for the neutral, but I'm sure Blues fans will take the stress-free victory after many years of losing out.
Fucking smash those pricks.
Man.
Fucking cowbells.
Japan got pummeled by England just after that. Gloucester Hartpury beat Bristol in the Women's Premiership final. The Barbas got their international players while Fiji didn't, and the Springboks qualified for the Olympics. Handshakes all around. Here's the part where I put my laptop down like this so you can tell I'm reading off of it for the news. Okay. And the news is squads, I guess, starting with a Springbok squad that was announced moments before filming, so I haven't really had a chance to look at other people's takes and steal them. The squad now includes players that were not eligible for the Wales game, so you've got guys like Handré Pollard, Jasper Wiese and Thomas du Toit back in, though I thought Jasper was banned. Sasha, Edwell and Murat are also still in the team after their great performances against Wales, and Mornay from the little team I love is also there, so big hearts. As has been the case now for like 8 years, there's often very little to be upset about when a Bok team gets announced. Ulrich Lowe might have a case, but Bones Jason Dixon did play well last week. Ruan Okia could be sad, but who do you drop, Mostert or Ergje Snyman? It's a tough choice. These are all such close calls that a coach's bias is probably what edges it. And Rassie certainly has earned his bias in selections. Australia have also named their squad for these tours, and there are no overseas-based players. It's a bold call to leave out guys like Koro Mbeti and Rodda, but I guess Schmidt wants guys close to home, which is what he said, so it's not really a guess. Leaving out Vunivalu is an indication that there might actually be just a little bit of sanity returning to Rugby Australia. A lot of All Blacks fans have lost their sanity after the announcement of their squad, mostly because baller extraordinaire Hoskins Sotutu has been left out. Now, I have not been watching Super Rugby that closely, so I can't really comment on how he's been doing this year, though his stats do show that he has been pretty good. Other than Hoskins Sotutu, the squad looks pretty good. They did make a World Cup final last year after all. I'm mostly interested to see how they'll go without Richie Mo'unga, whose star has only become brighter in his absence from Christchurch. And my star will become brighter too if you subscribe and share this week's rugby update. Can't believe I remembered to say that. I will see you all next week to talk about plants or something, because there's gonna be no rugby. Bye.
Good play. Costello looking for Liam Williams. He's a good operator in the air, Williams said. And here it comes. Oh, what a hit from Factor Claire. Now, it's a foot race and only one winner. April van der Merwe, trial debut.